we run a programme that's it's individually based in a team environment really, and trying to identify the key areas that we think they need to get better or are their strengths, and then go away and start doing the work to get them to achieve those things. We've had some good success, I think, over the last 2 to 3 winters of getting some key areas for a player that we think that they can make the biggest performance difference when they play for the club. Development is all still about people. It's about coaches and players and strength and conditioning coaches and physios all working together to create an environment where people can go about their business and start to get better.
So Pete, the players have been in a week or so now. What are your areas of focus in this first week of the winter?
Well, I think we start the first week, it's of cricket really. Last week they did assessment of physical stuff and whatever and check where they're at. The first 2 weeks really are physically and cricket-wise, where you're at, assessing things, what are they looking to get out of the next 4 to 5 months. So we sit and talk to them, they do some physical stuff, and this week they're actually getting to hitting a ball or bowling a ball and getting back into it. So we run a programme that's it's individually based in a team environment really, and trying to identify the key areas that we think they need to get better or are their strengths, and then go away and start doing the work to get them to achieve those things.
Yeah, it was something Liam mentioned last week about the physical stuff was the individual programmes. Are the players quite involved in devising what they want to work on themselves?
Yeah, it's a shared thing, like most things are. I think if you're getting things right, you get the input of a coach or a strength and conditioning trainer and the player, and between you hopefully come up with the right plans. We've had some good success, I think, over the last 2 to 3 winters of getting some key areas for a player that we think that they can make the biggest performance difference when they play for the club. And that's really what you're here for. And you know, that when they walk out on the turf, they can actually perform better in whatever format it is for Notts County Cricket Club.
Yeah. How do you join those dots that the work that you might do now in Sobers or Hadley Hall will translate to out on the pitch in April, May?
I think you give it context. I mean, I think when you come down, when I say basics, there is basics that go with all movement sport. Understanding that for a player is the first bit. So a bit like, I'd say to somebody like a musician, you know, you might start a piano lesson when he's doing his scales. And he's starting off doing some really simple stuff, but he's going on to play Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. But he still has to do the first bit. So to start with of winters, often you're reassessing where are my basics. And on top of that, you then start to put the context in of what do I need to do. That is a T20 game, you might want to belt it out the park. In a championship game, you might be facing a ball that swings as a batter. And we try and do those different things as we move through the winter.
We've seen a lot of younger players in the setup as well in these last week or so. They look at Sammy King, James Hayes, who maybe are going through their first proper winters as professionals. How can they benefit from that length of time on the game? Yeah,
I mean, it's a skill-based programme, and they've got to start to learn some new skills, I think, or develop the skills they have, because knowing what you want to do and your body being able to do it sometimes are two different things. So they'll be working through that. What tends to happen a little bit as a player matures and plays more, it becomes more clear the areas he wants to refine and get better. Sometimes for someone like James Hayes, who's brand new to it, or Sam King, they need to go through some basics with the coach, with someone like Kevin Shine on bowling, where they really are exploring a little bit what is the best way for them to go about their profession. And that exploration can really start to happen now pre-Christmas, and as they get closer to the season, they've got to start to be able to execute that more and more consistently when it comes to time to deliver in season.
Yeah, and can that amount of time you've got now be helpful? I think Lyndon James said that you can't take a 5 for in the nets, you can't score a ton in the nets. That kind of lack of immediate game pressure, can that help in its own way?
I think so. I think it makes you a bit braver to maybe look at a few different areas of your game. It's a balance. You know, all development there needs to be a level of pressure and practice to make it real. But sometimes you just want to be creative. You just go in there and you test out a few things. So at the moment, as I say, the further away from the season you are, the more I think you can explore areas of your game and what you might get. And that can be things from fielding, batting or bowling. And generally you've got to do some basic, what I would say, you know, tough work, which it might be physical fitness and stuff like that, that's going to get you ready over the whole winter to be robust and ready to perform in the summer.
Those areas change much as the player becomes more senior? Do they work on different things at different stages?
Not really. I think what the senior players do is they they educate us as coaches sometimes, really, that the areas they really want to refine. But basics of movement, often balances, alignment, those sort of type things, that they're across the board in all sports, but definitely in cricket. Like most things in top flight sport, is can you do them at real pace? And that means sometimes you've got to do periods of volume of practice where you learn the skill first, and then you start to load it and increase the pace of it, so then you can do it when you get out there against somebody bowling fast or swinging the ball, or you might have gained a yard of pace as a bowler.
And how big a role do the kind of technological side of things play? We've seen MyZone being used in the gym to record stats. We see a lot of stuff being filmed and watched back in the halls as well. How big a role can that play?
Well, all technology for me accelerates things. It's not the catalyst for change. That's often the player or the coach, or the sharing of the player and the coach. But it helps provide evidence often. Okay, where are you now? Let's have a look at the video, because the player can feel where he is, the coach can see it. The question is, if the player feels that felt really nice, it felt really smooth, we can always watch the video and see if it looked really smooth. When he looks at it, what does he think? Because if they don't match, I sometimes say to people, I can try and do my goal swing and think it's all slow and smooth, then watch back the video and think, oh no, crikey, it's nothing like that. So then I've got to take that feedback and work with it. So we use stuff like that. There is Kunal Manik, our analyst, who'll come up with some numbers sometimes from the season of areas we've done well, or areas we might have to look at that might create a focus for us in the winter that we might target. So these different things we look at. I think generally, as I say, development is all still about people. It's about coaches and players and strength and conditioning coaches and physios all working together to create an environment where people can go about their business and start to get better.